So I've been thinking for a long time about writing this out or recording something to hopefully offer some support, some perspective on what is happening in our world. And there's a little part of me that wants to resist putting myself out there because in the back of my head I have a who do you think you are? Um, and I think we can all relate to that. Perhaps some of us can even. But I'm a therapist, I'm a mental health professional, I'm a teacher, I'm an interfaith minister, and I work with human beings every day. And I work with myself every day. I can't get away from myself. And I see the suffering, and I feel my own suffering, and I see the violence, and I see my own violence. And I think, who am I to talk to people about what's happening in our world? And I'll tell you who I am. I am the divine, and so are you. We are all the divine, yet we are also human, and we're trying to find our way back to our true natures. It's very difficult. And so here we are. I'm in Monroe, Connecticut, and just recently, last week, heard about a tragic event in my neighboring town, the town I grew up in Shelton, where one high school boy stabbed and killed another, as well as other injuries that occurred because of a fight. And now, today, March 26th or May 26th, the day after another tragic shooting in Texas, taking the lives of young children and teachers. And here we are, all of us chiming in about gun laws and who should do this and who should do that, and how are things going to change? How come nobody's doing anything? It's the government. It's this, it's that. And what we have to understand is, yes, perhaps those battles matter in some way, but what really matters is the deficit, the void in each one of us that causes us, each one of us, to be lost and violent also. And many of you are probably saying to yourself, I'm not violent. I'm not violent. But the truth is, if you look with more honesty, you can hear your own violent thoughts, your own violent judgments, your resentments, your behavior on the road, perhaps, your behavior at the checkout line, your behavior toward yourself, just like me. That's where the violence begins. And we would like to blame the rest of the world for the violence in our world. But the fights about the laws are not going to change who we are, our human nature. There is violence in every single human being. And we are responsible to change that. We are in our violence when we're non-forgiving. We are in our violence when we are in our anger. We are violent. What do? keep fighting with each other, keep judging, keep blaming the government. Yeah, does that have something to do with it? Okay. It's all a distraction and it's all chaos and it's all divisive. Here's what we can do. We can stop ourselves from drowning in the whirlpool of insanity that we have collectively created as human beings. We are always chasing more and running from pain and running from the truth. We are always chasing more beauty, more accolades, more power, more compliments, more success, more. Most of the clients that I see complain about how they have no time. Yeah, that sounds good, but how am I supposed to do that? When am I supposed to do that? My kids this, my cat, my job this. This is what I hear every day. And yet we don't change it. We want it to be handed to us. We want the answers to be easier. The answer is simple. We have to stop. We have to step outside of the whirlpool. We have to go against the grain of greed, the grain of lust, the grain of laziness, the grain of addiction. We all do it. And our priorities are lost. We think that we're doing okay if our kids are 4.0 graduates of blah, blah, blah. Or we think we're doing okay if our front lawn looks beautiful and our house is beautiful. Or we're driving a certain car, or we've done a little community service even. We think we've done okay, or we've gone to some religious service. But yet, the violence within our own homes and our own minds and our own bodies, violence such as, unhealthy choices, unhealthy communication, pushing our kids perhaps, we don't look at that as violence because it's become a societal agreement that kids should be running around every day after school, doing this and trying to prove that. They're doing the same thing that we're doing, and we're pushing them harder. Because why? Because that's what the collective consciousness has agreed to. That makes us worthy. And what is this doing? It's creating disconnection. It's creating disconnection between ourselves, within our family. We're always chasing, grabbing, wanting more, thinking that the answer is in more. And it's not. The answer is in stillness. The answer is in stopping. The answer is in pausing. The answer is in sitting and being with. That's where the answer is. As you all know and may have heard, that there is a huge shortage of mental health practitioners right now. We're all so busy because of everything that's been going on in the world. And I'm the first one to tell you that I think that the mental health field is not really addressing our true issue, which is our spiritual illness. The mental illness, the emotional illness, is coming from a spiritual deficit that we all have a hole inside of us because we are so disconnected from the truth of who we really are. We are not connecting with our true selves. We are connecting with our senses and the desires. That's what we're doing. So instead of fighting with each other online, in social media, instead of judging each other, instead of coming up with an opinion about something, can we be the change that we want to see in the world? Can we stop the violence in my own mind? It's hard. I try, but I'm as guilty as the next person when it comes to being reactive to things. But if we do it together, and if we practice together, and we commit to a set of spiritual ideals and priorities and values together, and we recognize the separation and the divisiveness that is not just happening between political parties, it's happening in homes, it is happening in families, because nobody's connecting, nobody's talking, nobody's spending time with their spiritual selves, their true selves. We might be talking, but we might be talking about what we got to do, where we're going, how we're going to get it done, what prize did we get, what accolade did we get. There's nothing wrong with, creating and accomplishing things. But we're not doing it in the spirit of giving. We're doing it in the spirit of taking. Not even receiving, but taking. I want this. I need that. Can we do it? Can we be in our lives in a spirit with one, unity? That when I put myself out into the world to do something, to create something, that I'm doing it to give to the world what I have to give, whatever that may be, that I am doing it to give and to connect, but not to try to get and not to try to control, which I've been famous for. So know that I'm not trying to sit on a high horse, because I'm in it too. And I'm working on this too. And it is not easy. How am I working on it? I am reading a lot. I am studying a lot of sacred scriptures, primarily yogic scriptures, but they all say the same as the Bible and the Quran and the other texts out there. We must start with practicing nonviolence and truthfulness, and we have to get honest with ourselves about what we're creating together. And we want the world to change, and we're acting like victims because the world won't change, and people won't change, and the government won't change, and we can't get our way about gun laws or all of these things. And I'm not going to take a position on that. What I'm taking a position on is the fact that all of that is a distraction from taking care of what we need to take care of, which is our own hearts and our own spirits. We need to face our spirits, not just a pat on the head, an occasional conversation with it when we're desperate and not getting what we want, but like it's our responsibility, because it is. We have to face ourselves, and we have to do it together. So if you're interested in having more conversation about this and learning more about the tools, the path in which to begin to take ownership of your life and to come out of that whirlpool reevaluate your priorities and how you're using your resources, like your money, your time, your energy. How much of that, how much of those resources are going toward your spiritual health? Or are you going to mental health professionals or physical coaches of some kind or doctors and expecting some miracle to happen? Because it's not going to happen. I've done it all. It's not going to happen. It's only going to happen when we do what we have to do. And that is the spiritual work, the put your money where your mouth is work, the slowing down your life work, reorganizing your life, facing that which you know is severely askew, but yet we're seduced into this land of more, this land of addiction and disconnection. How do we stop? We have to start peeling away the layers, and we have to be patient because it takes time. And we have to find ways, real ways to connect with ourselves, like meditation and prayer, whatever that means to you. At the very least, meditation. Therein are the answers to everything. If I take care of what's going on inside of me, then I can be a better mom, and I can be more present in my community and with my clients, and teach truth and try to live truth rather than blame people, places, and things for the unhappy state of the world. If I can focus on myself and what I can bring to the table and be different and take out my divine nature and rub all the crust and gunk off of it, make it shine, and you do that, we work on doing that, and we, rather than judge people, we hold out our hand and say, here, let's do this, let's do this. And rather than blaming people, we keep steadfast in our own truth and not be distracted by all of the noise. What matters is what's inside of me, because what's inside of me is what's outside of me. And what's inside of us, all of us, is what's outside all of us. This is a world that we have created. We cannot blame that child's parents. We cannot blame the world on the wars on a country. We are creating this. And it starts here with the divine within each one of us. So thank you for letting me get that out. And I appreciate this platform to be able to share with you what I'm trying to work on and invite you to join me. And perhaps we could have some more conversations. Open to any feedback you have. And I look forward to maybe talking again in the future. Thank you.